Da-da-da. Hello, hello, hello. It is Elizabeth back here this week after my crazy awesome launch to sold out bootcamp that was happening for last week. And so it's been a while since I've seen you, right? So hello. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you about what mistakes you can avoid when you start to think about scaling your business so that you can really build and grow a business that gives you a happy business and a happy life. So I want to talk to you about those common mistakes to avoid now in your business and share with you my 3 favorite free tools to scale your business as you're starting to grow. So if you are watching this, tell me where you are tuning in from. Let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, if you can hear me, let me know. I'm going to do a quick tech check here. Make sure that I am on. I can never tell if I'm on. You think it's like one day it's working and then the next day it doesn't work. Let's see. Say hi. Let's see here. Does it look like I'm on? There it goes. Awesome. So last week, what an amazing week it has been with the students that came to the boot camp last week. Last week's boot camp was all about how to launch in 90 days to get happy win-win sales. And I laid it out there. I poured it out there for what it takes to actually put together a launch plan that will get you launched in 90 days at a high ticket premium pricing to really focus on win-win happy sales. At the heart of sales is really trust. And trust comes through the human connection. And one of my favorite things that I shared with the students that I just found really powerful in my own journey in corporate and now as an entrepreneur was what I called the money connection predictor formula. So if you are watching this and you are at the boot camp, can you just let me know what you loved about it? Share that with the audience and let them know, right? Because folks, I've been talking about one of the common mistakes people make about hey, I want more sales in my business is that they're not even getting started. They're not even out there selling. So sometimes it's that obvious that really makes a difference. But if you're tuning in, let me know, where are you tuning in from? Where are you tuning in from? I was having an interesting conversation inside of the group last week about if there's one thing that you can give up for life, would it be Netflix or Starbucks? What do you think you can live with? And what do you think you cannot live with? Let me know in the comments. I still go back to that, but I think I love coffee. I love Starbucks. But if I still had coffee around, I think if I had to pick one thing for life, it would probably be Netflix. I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I do have 5 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour, I just want to watch something on Netflix, right? Just watch something on Netflix. So tell me, where are you tuning in from? Where are you saying hi? You'll notice that in my caption here, you'll have to click on facebook.com/StreamYard so I can see who you are and say hi. So we had an amazing week last week, and it's hard to believe that February is already here. Can you believe that February is already here? I usually don't count November and December in the year just because it's the holidays, folks. So usually in a year, I'm thinking, okay, you kind of just have 10 months, and we're already 9 months in. I know. You're probably like, Elizabeth, why are you telling me this, right? So today I want to talk to you about my 3 favorite tools and the common mistakes that I see entrepreneurs make when they start to build and stabilize and grow their business. Now, if we haven't had a chance to meet yet, I'm Elizabeth Yang. I am a customer, business strategist, and I focus on coaching entrepreneurs, diverse entrepreneurs that really want to get into the online space. But they don't just want to develop a course and launch. They want to be able to build an experience and serve their ideal, dreamy MVP customer, which is your most valuable paying customer. And they want to be able to create an experience that they can charge premium for. So that's really my thing. I come from a background of customer psychology and how people decide and make buying decisions. So my students get to spend a little bit more time than most folks on really like getting deep on just not your dreamy ideal customer, but your most valuable paying customer. Because you just don't want anybody that has money in their wallet, do you? Well, that's what I do. But let's dive right into it. So what's a common mistake that most people make when they're just growing and building their business, right? So the first mistake, I'm just going to pull in my iPad here and just share my screen. And if you're tuning in, are you catching the live or the replay? Let me know and say hi in the comments. I'd love to just see who's watching. So I'm going to share with you 3 common mistakes and why these 3 favorite free tools that I use to scaling my business and creating that happy life is really key. Okay? So one of the things you're going to find about me is that I love to teach not only the strategies and tactics, but I teach the principle. The principle is really the stickiness, the glue factor that holds your strategy in your business together with the tactics. Why is that guiding principle so key? It's so key because it's what you can ultimately guarantee an awesome, delightful, wow customer experience. That's like everything in your business, from your marketing to your sales to your delivery to your customer success. And then guess what? Building in a system for a referral network that refers business to you, right? So it's that start to finish. And it's really the guiding principle in your business that brings all of that together. So are you ready? Are you ready to get started? Let me know in the comments. Ready? Awesome. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So I want you to imagine that when you're in your business, whether you're just in startup and you're just trying to get, consistent 10K months, or you're, growing and you're looking at either 20 to 50K months, right? Is this rhythm of build and stabilizing. This is one of the things that I covered in my bootcamp last week, but this is also the mistake that I think most entrepreneurs make, even when they're starting out or even when they're already, at 6 figures, is really they forget, right? Oh, let me see here. My pen is not working here. They forget that you gotta really, if you're really serious about growing a freedom business that is going to give you the freedom life that you want, you got to step into your CEO mindset. Okay? And what do I mean by that? You got to build with the end in mind. You got to build with the end in mind. And sometimes when people are looking at launching a new online income stream, you're still trying to validate if anyone's going to buy this product or program. And I totally get that. But the most important thing to realize is that if you're going to be truly wanting to create a freedom business online so that gives you the options to live that life on your terms, you got to step into it as a CEO mindset. How do I build a business that's not only going to give me sales, but is going to be sustainable and long enough, right? Around long enough to really make that impact, right? Because you don't want to just get your sales for the year, be burnt out, overworked, and then go out of business, right? Because then you're not going to be around long enough to sustain the work that you're doing. Are you hearing me on that? So with a CEO mindset, when we're talking about mistakes, most people will start as a side hustle. I started as a side hustle and grew my business via word of mouth, completely 100% organic before I had the courage and the confidence to leave. But that side hustle system that I built into place did not serve me when I jumped full ship into my full-time entrepreneur journey. It didn't. I realized really quickly within 3 to 6 months that side hustle system was not bringing in enough leads every month for consistent cash flow income. And guess what? All those years planning out the door. I had to reset and say, what am I building now? So as a CEO mindset, you got to say yes to what you really, really want, whether you're looking to scale your next income stream to grow your business to multiple 6 or 7 figures, or you're that side hustler who's just trying to like replace your income so that you can really start your business. You got to start with the CEO mindset. And the CEO mindset looks like this, okay? And I'm going to get to my tools in just a moment here, right? I want you to think of a staircase, right? And in the staircase, this is going to represent your growth, right? Sales, product, customers, leads, right? So when we're building, we're often just focused on the vertical, right? Just think of a staircase. Right when you're about to like step onto that staircase, right? You obviously are building it vertically like this because you're just like, I need sales. Like you're just trying to get the money in the door, right? And most people, even experienced entrepreneurs, will just focus on the building phase, right? They'll just focus on building because they're just trying to get sales, clients, like, will anybody buy this, right? But as the CEO, and you're, again, building that business for the long term, even as a side hustle, you have to be really honest with yourself, right? Most of the time I talk to side hustlers, especially in the boot camp this week, and they said to me, yeah, I do want a business, but they're not really committed. And what I mean by that is they're not giving themselves permission to say yes to what they really want because they're afraid that what if this idea, what if this product does not work? So that fear, right, holds them back from saying yes to what they really want. And what I've been saying to the students all week in the boot camp and even to my students now is just say yes to the future that you really, really want, that dream, right? Don't let your capacity, your current skill set, people set, and mindset right now determine whether or not you can create that freedom business. It just is irrelevant because you don't even know what you're capable of yet. You don't even have the skill set, mindset, people set to get there. Because if you did, you would already be there, right? So what you have to say yes to is that I want a freedom business to create a happy freedom life, right? Now I got to figure out, how do I get there? What's my mindset got to be, right? And I'm telling you right now, your mindset has to be building with this in mind. And then, so think of a staircase, right? You're building it, you're getting sales consistently in, right? You're hitting your sales goals. Then you're thinking about stabilizing, and think of stabilizing as that vertical piece, right? So it's when you're about to step, right? Like your foot is about to step on those staircase. You don't want something that's kind of like wobbly. It just isn't a good foundation for you to land on, right? So the common mistake that I often see is that whether you're a startup or you're building your next 6-figure launch, we have to think about this almost as a parallel path, right? And really think about the milestones we need to build and hit those sales goals and then be ready to start to stabilize. Because as soon as you stabilize, then you're building your next level up, just like a staircase, right? Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments, okay? And so this like dynamic thinking is really needed when you're starting to really say yes to that life and that freedom business that you really want, right? And so think with that in mind. The second mistake that I often see entrepreneurs make, whether it's in startup or dream up, or even building and launching their next online income stream, going back to this model, is they're stuck in it for way too long, right? So it's either or, right? So they're either just building, and they're not thinking about stabilizing. And what that looks like is they're constantly chasing sales every month, right? They're constantly just chasing the sales. They're just like, whatever I got to do to get the sale. So this month, I'm going to be offering this product and this program. Oh, next month, that didn't sell that well. So you know what? Maybe next month, I'm going to add another product because it's the product, right? So now I'm going to add another product. Or, oh, that service, I'm not getting sales. So whatever customer has in her wallet and she's opening it up, I'm going to do a custom package for her, right? So you're constantly building because you're just chasing the sale, and it's either or just building, and you're not thinking about that one online income stream, that one product from start to finish, which is your online income stream, right? You got to bring in the sales, look at your costs, do the math for profit. Like that's what I call it, online income stream, right? You got to be doing that parallel path with stabilizing, because otherwise you just never get consistent sales every month. And when you don't get consistent sales every month, it's not a happy sale. It's just, it doesn't feel good, right? It just doesn't feel good, right? Or you are now at a point where you are getting consistent sales, but you're stuck in stabilizing. You're like, okay, I need to keep building processes and efficiencies. I need to keep building like standard operating procedures for my team. Okay, and you're just all of a sudden, right? You go from being in sales mode and in front of people to now behind the scenes, running operations, managing your team, like creating all of this. And then you're just constantly working on operations, right? And what happens with your sales? It starts to go stagnant. And at some point, it's going to go down. Because if you're not out there as the CEO and founder of your business, raising your visibility, right, constantly championing for sales and marketing, at some point, right, that engine just kind of plateaus, right? So oftentimes, this mistake of not building with the CEO mindset, looking at building and stabilizing and keeping that in mind as you grow, you then fall into this default of either or. Like you're just either doing one, or at some point you're doing the other. And what I'm saying to you is you got to be simultaneously thinking of both. Got to be simultaneously thinking of both. Especially if you're all in it, ready, and wanting to build a successful business with steady, 10, 20, 30K, right? Monthly income online. Because the online space changes so quickly, right? So quickly. And then the third mistake that I often see is they're stuck in the tech and tools pick too long, right? Like they're paralyzed. Paralyzed. Let me see if I can spell this morning, y'all. It's almost like when people are watching, you can't spell, or like you can't type, right? Have you ever noticed that? You're paralyzed in your tech, right? And I get it. When you're first starting, you want to just tech. Like, tech is a pain. You know that tech is, like most of us try to avoid it. It can be very overwhelming. But technologies and tools should grow with you as part of your business, depending on the stage of your business. And this is where I see people mess up. They get stuck like shopping and comparing options and features. And what they try to do is they will try to buy the mansion at startup or dream up, right? The mansion technology solution, pay a boatload for that, right? Because they fear that, oh my gosh, what if I grow? I don't want to go through the whole hassle of like having to integrate things and move things around. And, this one mansion technology solution seems to be like the one-stop shop. And I don't really know exactly what I'll need, but it seems to have all the features and benefits, and I'll just buy it, right? But it's like buying a mansion when you're in startup, when really you just really need an apartment to get started, right? So the stage of your business, your tech pick should really follow the stage of your business, right? And so when you're completely starting out, especially when I'm doing beta programs or I'm doing a new launch, like I just go to like a Word doc and like go Google Sheets, right? I remember when I first started and people would get caught up in like the technology build for courses, and they would just spend like months shopping around, asking different groups, what portal, what email, what thing. And I was like, you don't really need all of that ready to go. I launched one of my first courses through just Google and Gmail email. And it was really simple. I'll tell you my technology hack free way. It was literally like I recorded a video, I uploaded it to a Google folder. That was module 1. And then I sent an email manually, right? And then I gave them a week, and then I gave them access to Google folder 2, module 2, and then I emailed them, right? Like, that's it. That was as simple as can be, because it's not the tech. It's not the tech that I need to validate. Okay? It is the content. Is it working? Will people buy this? Right? But way too many people spend way too much time, and whether it's a fear of perfectionism or whatever, or the fear of like extra work, I was like, really? When you first start out, are you really going to have like a line of 1,000 students where this email process of emailing every single one of them is really going to be that consuming? My friend, if you have a waiting list of 1,000 students that are coming in, I'm sure in your business, you've already been at a point where you can hire someone to build that portal for you, right? So sometimes we get stuck way too long, paralyzed by tech. And my friend, if you are not out there selling, you are not out there making money, right? So those are the 3 common mistakes that I see, right? Are you feeling that? First one is not saying yes to what you really want, which is really a business that's going to give you a freedom lifestyle, right? And saying, I want to create an online business that's going to allow me to do that. And how do I get there as quickly as possible? And in order to do that, you've got to step into your CEO mindset, and you've got to be parallel building and stabilizing for growth, period. Mistake 2, you're either stuck in one or the other, right? You're building and you're just chasing that sale, and you're not thinking about stabilization, right? Because in every month your product or program changes, and it should, to a certain extent. But if you've been at this for a year consistently, and it seems like every new program or product is different, my friend, it's not the product, okay? Or if you've already gotten consistent sales and you're starting to see sales plateau, right? And you're thinking it's about the product, like odds are you're probably stuck in stabilization, where you're too much behind the scenes and you're not in the forefront selling. Because when do we make sales? When we're selling, right? Not when you're behind the computer working on process flows. I love process flows, but it doesn't bring in the sales, right? Or 3, you're still stuck in paralyzed by tech analysis, right? Like you're just so stuck there. You're spending way too long building. You're investing in managing tech solutions because you're like, oh, I just want to build it once and have it grow with me, which numbers-wise doesn't make sense, right? And you're getting caught up in the tech, right? When something really simple, like just like a Google Doc and Google folders and granting people access for your course, is good enough. That's it, right? Keeping it really simple, because the goal here is what, friends? The goal here that I want to help you realize is we want sales, right? We want win-win, happy sales. And the sooner you flip, the sooner you get that. Got it? Cool. So what are some of my favorite free tools that I love to use and I recommend to my students and clients? So I have tried tons of them, and some of you may already have seen these, but I want to share it with you because one of the things that I really love about these tools, and I've tried a lot of them, is that their free versions are good enough for you to get started for a really long time until your team starts to grow and you just have a lot more volume, and then you can upgrade, right? And I love the flexibility and customization that these free versions offer. And at a minimum, besides, Google Suites, Gmail, Google Docs, we use that a lot in our business. These are the 3 things that I want you to start thinking about incorporating and building in, so that you start to have more of an organization rhythm to what you're doing, whether you're a solopreneur or you have a small team or you have contractors that are working for you. But at some point, my rule of thumb is this, right? My rule of thumb is I always like to try things the first round and do it myself, because you just don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know until you start doing. But usually when I've already been able, if I can map it out, I'll then delegate it, right? And the key here is being able to understand what you really need and what pieces you need in place, right? So let me share with you what my 3 favorite free tools are and why I love them, okay? So the first one is Airtable, and I absolutely love Airtable. It is like a super spreadsheet database, right? It's a super spreadsheet database. And if you're familiar with Microsoft Access back in the day, like this is what I love about Airtable. It's so dynamic. And what I use it for is I use it for content management. So I don't use it to write, my content. I still use Google Docs, and I have a really specific way in Google Slides to write my emails. But after all of that is done, my posts, like all my copy and content, I use Airtable to do that. And the reason why I do this is because I started to realize that if I would buy into like a social media management tool, right, where you can schedule different posts for different social media, once you decide to change vendors, then you have to go back and like dump everything out. And I just really needed one, quote, master source of all my content and all my copy that I could just copy and paste into all these different social media management tools, regardless if I decide to change vendors. That is just kind of the master copy. Okay. And I just really love Airtable. I love the flexibility with the free version. I love the fact that you can integrate it with Asana and just other tools that I have here. So that's my super spreadsheet that I just really love with like a database like features. And I use it primarily for content management. And I am having my students use that because I remember one client I was working with, she had her group for like a few years. And when her and I started working together, I said, so which content do you get the most engagement on? And she said, I don't know. And I said, well, how do you measure like which topics are popular or not? She goes, I just kind of have a feel for it, right? And so then I said, well, we have to go back and look at the content. We can't just say, what's your feel, right? And she had to go back. Again, we're talking about building and stabilizing with the CEO mindset, right? And so she was like, oh my gosh, I have to go back and like look through all my posts in my Facebook group and analyze it. And I said, no, let's go ahead and hire someone else and delegate that to someone else, because you got to wear your CEO mindset. And now that you know moving forward, you got to create a process, right? Like a process, right? That if you were to hire and train someone to do this, that one, and you can explain it to them because it's quote documented. And two, you have one place for all of your copy, because ideally you should be looking at your copy, looking at the numbers, analyzing it, and recycling content, period. Okay. So Airtable is my favorite tool for that. The second one that I really, really love, and I've tried so many different management tools, is Asana. I've done Trello, I've done ClickUp, I've done so many different types of just project management tools. And what I really love about Asana is that not only is it a project management tool, but it's also my task like keeper. So there was a book I was reading. It's called The Extraordinary Productivity. And basically there's 4 different ways that you could prioritize tasks. And so when I was realizing that I was keeping all my to-do tasks somewhere else, and then, I needed a way for me to not only manage the tasks for my projects, but then there were certain tasks that I was doing weekly, delegating to my team, monthly operational tasks, and I needed a spot to manage those. And so I started to have all these different, tools to manage all these different tasks. And some of the other project management tools, they were really great at just project management only, right? Like just project tasks. But I really needed like an inbox or an intake process that would manage tasks for my own personal tasks, my project tasks, and our operations and team tasks. And so I needed a space for that. And I just found that Asana really does that. And so it really is, I love it because it is not only free, but it just allows me to create tasks, right, with processes. And I encourage you that whether you're in startup or you've, already had your business for a while, if there are repetitive things that you are doing, right, like things that you just do very often, like the way that you write your content, the way that you prepare your live streams, the way that you package certain products, the way that you're selling, whatever that is, if you right now as a solopreneur know that you do things in a certain task, right, a certain order, again, I want you to wear your CEO mindset if you're really serious about growing your business and creating a freedom life, and start to put that down. Okay. I always say when you start doing things that like in the back of your head, and you could be like, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a really good time to start documenting it. And Asana is a really great way to just, break it down and just put those tasks in there. And even if you never use it, at least it's out of your brain and it's there, because my friend, right, I often say to my students, my goal is to get you to like 6 figures and above, right? Or 7 figures, your next launch income stream. So what is in your brain, start documenting there, so that when you're ready to hire, because the growth just hit you, you just have to go and skim and be like, yep, what do I have, right? But when you're not stabilizing while you're building and trying to keep all that in mind, all of a sudden growth hits you. And then now you've got to go back and remember everything, every little thing that you do in your business to be able to train someone new, figure out who to hire, like, right, and what to do. So while you're building your business, like there's certain repetitive things that you do, put it in Asana, put it in a tool, right? Because then as you begin to grow and you're ready to then delegate or hire, you're going to start to have a better idea of like what your next hire is. A lot of people like to hire VAs to do the administrative task, but that can mean so many different things. And you need to understand, if you're going to hire a VA, what type of skill set you need. And when you start documenting those repetitive tasks that you do, you can start saying, oh, I need someone that is really good with tech. I need someone that is good with numbers. I need someone that's maybe okay with design or copywriting, right? Like you can start to see everything that you put into your business to grow. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, so lastly, my favorite one is Slack. So, this is great. As a solopreneur, maybe not so much, but as you start to have, I would say, another person supporting you, even if it's a part-time help or VA or contractor, instead of going back and forth in your emails, which I hate, or going back and forth in the Facebook DMs, Slack is a really great way to organize your communications by channel. And the way that I use it is I organize it by channels for communication. So for example, I have one channel that's for stand-ups and teens, and any communication related to that, we just go boom, and it goes in there. And then I have one channel just for, depending on the builds that we're doing for our clients, like course portals, webinars, whatever, like I'll have a client channel, right? That is like a generic one, or might have a specific client channel if I know that there's a lot more that we're doing for them. So it just allows you to organize your communication by channel. And of course, everything's searchable, but you don't have to go back like in your DM thread and like scroll, right? Like, and look for what you need and then try to do a search. No, in Slack, you're already communicating by channel, so it keeps it organized. What I love about this is that, Slack is also integrated with Asana. Asana can also integrate with Airtable. So as your system gets fancier, you can start integrating them, right? So for example, if I'm delegating a team, my team, there's a communication, maybe there's a customer issue that came up and we're communicating about that in Slack, but we don't want to lose track of that task because maybe it's time sensitive. inside of Slack, right? I can send it to Asana as a task and assign it to a person, and then it goes into that flow. So what I'm saying here is that it's really almost like a productivity workflow, right? And if I go back to really, the common mistakes that I see, those are my 3 favorite tools, right? That really allows you to step into that next level for you. Really going into it with the CEO mindset of building and stabilizing for growth, right? And 2, thinking about those in parallel path. And 3, not be paralyzed by tech, right? Not letting technology determine what you can do but can't do, but rather lean into the fact that, as you begin to grow your business, that your technology stack will grow with you, right? That when you, depending on the stage of your business, your technology solutions, right, at startup is not going to be the same solution you're going to need at scale. I mean, think about it. Life stages are the same way, right? Like when you are a college student, sharing an apartment, right, makes sense, right? And then you graduate, you get a job, and maybe an apartment or a studio makes sense. And all of a sudden you're going to get married. You can still live in an apartment, but then you start to have kids and you want to think about a house, right? So just like in different life stages, we have different housing situations and different housing models. In business, technology and tools are just like that. They are meant to grow with you, right? So don't let it paralyze you from growing and scaling your business to that next level. If you find yourself stuck in tech for way too long, just go through, a very manual posted Google Note and get that out the door and realize, give yourself some time to work out a couple round of those kinks, but know that you got to come back to it to stabilize it. Because now that you know what you need, you can go out there and look for those solutions, right? So those are my 3 favorite tool hacks for scaling a happy business and life. And I love it because it keeps things organized. I know what needs to go where. I know what communications has gone out. I know what task I need to do daily to be productive for my sales goals. I know what my team is working on. I know what we're doing weekly versus daily versus monthly and bi-monthly, right? So all of these things really has to start with growing and building a business from the foundation up, right? So I hope that you enjoyed that. And I will see you next week